Hello and a very good evening to all of you students. As Pankaj sir rightly explained, what I'm going to today, as far as the session is concerned, uh, going to explain very briefly in terms of various points, the strategy, the method, the format to be followed by the students who are uh, quite positive about the prelims result. And you must be aware of the schedule of the mains examination, which is going to start from the almost first week of January. And since we are going to get a lesser amount of time, comparatively speaking, if we compare with earlier years because of the COVID-19 pandemic, so on and so forth, uh, there are a number of questions I'm sure must be confronted by all the students, old, new, so on and so forth. So keeping in mind all the complexities, the questions and queries, we decided to come up with this kind of session. I'll put forward certain points as part of strategy, as part of method to be followed, and I'll be quickly looking into the initial points very quickly in brief because those points are very obvious. And once I explain the obvious primary fundamental points, I will elaborate upon the subsequent points which are going to be quite important as far as the coming mains is concerned. So let me start with just one clarification. I'll be following a bilingual format. I'll be speaking in English as well as in between Marathi as well. Okay, so forgive for me that. Three very primary things as far as the coming mains is concerned. So तीन महत्वाच्या गोष्टी आहेत त्याच्यामध्ये. The very first is the available time slot. We have October almost, then November, the entire November, and then the December. Now, if we count the days, then it would be around 80 to 85 days, okay, till first week of January. So that is the very first point. So the time slot is given and we are well aware of the available time slot. So 80 ते 85 दिवसाचा कालावधी आपल्याकडे आहे. This is the first one, which is very obvious one. Everybody knows that. The second one, in the time span of 80 to 85 days, now if you want to convert 80-85 days into number of hours, and if we consider that we are going to study per day 12 hours, that is 12 hours per day on daily basis, then it would be around, if we say 80 days into 12, it would be 960 hours. Okay, roughly let us say. So 80 to 85 days into 12 hours, that is 960, 980, whatever it is. You can calculate that. That is one thing. The second thing, in the slot of 80 to 85 days or 960 hours, we are supposed to prepare 7 papers. And when I say 7 papers, I am essentially talking about those papers which are compulsory on one hand, and on the other hand, whatever score you are going to secure in those 7 papers, that score would be considered as far as your merit is concerned, the cutoff for means is concerned. I mean to say, whatever you are going to secure in terms of marks in those 7 papers, that would be added, taken together, and on the basis of that total tally, you would either be getting through the mains examination and called upon in order to appear for the interview or not. Now, how many papers are you supposed to prepare for the mains examination? 7 papers. And all of us know the 7 papers. One is the essay, then 2 papers of optional. So taken together 3 papers and 4 papers of GS. I'm excluding here the 2 compulsory language papers. Now, if somebody is really worried about either the Indian language paper or the compulsory English language paper, I would kindly request all of them to just go through the previous year question papers of 2 to 3 years, maybe of the Indian language you have opted, as well as the compulsory English. And then if you want to at all practice answering those earlier question papers, or even on the similar lines, you can do that. But most of the students are not really worried about those 2 compulsory language papers because those are very primary, and the standard which is set or prescribed by UPSC for those 2 language papers happens to be that of the 10. So let me exclude those. and come back and focus on 7 papers. So 1 essay, 2 optional papers, and 4 papers of GS 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now, if we divide the slot of 960 or 80 hours by 7 papers in a simple mathematical manner, okay, then it would come around roughly, I'm putting it very crudely, 140 hours. And in terms of days, you can calculate that. I'm not going to explain. So 80 ते 85 दिवस, साधारणतः 960 ते 980 तास साधारणतः होतील जर रोजचे आपण 12 तास गृहीत धरले तर. आणि 7 पेपरची तयारी आपल्याला करायची आहे, निबंधापासून ते जीएसच्या 4थ्या पेपर पर्यंत. सो अशा 7 पेपरची तयारी आपल्याला करायची आहे. आता हे खूपच बेसिक आहे आणि तरी मी तुमच्या समोर ते मांडतोय. म्हणजे 80-85 दिवस आणि 7 पेपरची तयारी आपल्याला त्याच्यामध्ये करायची आहे. दिस इज द सेकंड पॉइंट. सो 80-85 days in which we are going to prepare. That is, as far as this time slot is concerned, we are supposed to compulsorily prepare the 7 papers. Now this is the second thing, plain thing. Now the third. Then comes the very important task of allocation of time for each and every paper. Okay, म्हणजे यातल्या प्रत्येक पेपरला आपल्याला टाइम स्लॉट द्यायचा आहे. Now what do we generally do whenever we chalk out or think of chalking out or evolving timetable? म्हणजे आपण वेळापत्रक करताना काय करतो? Number one, we look into the weightage enjoyed by the given paper. So when I say 7 papers, and all of you know for sure that each paper from essay paper to the 4th GS paper, every paper from the 1st to 7th paper carries similar weightage, same weightage of 250 marks each. म्हणजे प्रत्येक पेपरला पहिल्या पेपर पासून 7व्या पेपर पर्यंत 250 गुण असे समान गुणांची विभागणी आहे. So the first point while framing timetable should be or can be, let us say, the weightage enjoyed by each and every paper. So that is one thing. The second thing, the syllabus. म्हणजे अभ्यासक्रम काय त्याचा. As far as essay is concerned, UPSC hasn't prescribed any formal syllabus for essay and we cannot expect that. म्हणजे essay ला काही अभ्यासक्रम असू शकत नाही. If you look at the optional papers, that is 2 optional papers, you have to choose one optional, we know it for sure, and you must already done that. The syllabus is provided by UPSC in detail. त्याचा अभ्यासक्रम आपल्याला माहिती आहे म्हणजे. And then again similarly or in similar manner, the detailed syllabus of each GS paper from 1st to 4th is put forth by UPSC. तो देखील आपल्याला माहिती आहे. So one is the weightage, the second is the syllabus, and then comes the third thing, the reference material to be read by us. म्हणजे त्या प्रत्येक पेपर साठी काय काय आपल्याला वाचायचं आहे. Now what happens? We take essay for granted, but let me remind you kindly that essay enjoys the weightage of 250 marks, and if we have 80 to 85 days, by a simple mathematical equation, we should dedicate at least 10 to 12 days. Okay, simple mathematically speaking, 10 to 12 days even for essay paper. But quite often we don't do that because we take essay for granted. म्हणजे आपण एसेला काही जसं GS 1, 2, 3, 4 ला वेळ देतो, जसा ऑप्शनल 1 and 2 ला वेळ देतो, तसा आपण एसेला वेळ देत नाही. सो देअरफॉर इट वुड बी माय काइंड रिक्वेस्ट टू ऑल ऑफ यू that if not 10 to 12 days, at least think of giving 5 to 6 days. Okay, 5 ते 6 दिवस तुम्ही द्यायला पाहिजे. And let me put forward a very simple suggestion. मी एक सोपं तुम्हाला सजेशन देतो, उपाय सुचवतो. Let us think of giving 5 hours on weekly basis in order to prepare for essay. म्हणजे आठवड्यातले फक्त 5 तास. सो जर तुम्ही असा महिना काउंट केला तर 4 into 5, 20 hours in a month, another 20 hours in November, and maybe another 20 hours or less than that. So in the range of 40 to 60 hours, okay, in the range of 40 to 60 hours, we should at least think of giving that slot in order to prepare for essay. म्हणजे 40 ते 60 तास म्हणजे दिवसाच्या भाषेमध्ये जर आपण कन्वर्ट केलं, इफ वी वॉन्ट टू कन्वर्ट 40 to 60 hours into days, in terms of days, and I'm considering 12 hours per day, the preparation of 12 hours a day, तर ते किती होईल म्हणजे तर साधारणतः 5 to 6 days म्हणजे it would come around 5 to 6 days. So I would request all of you to dedicate a time slot of 5 to 6 days, at least 5 to 6 days as far as preparation for essay paper is concerned. म्हणजे एसेला आपण म्हणजे मला बाकीच्या विषयाची तयारी खूप करायची आहे. I have to prepare a lot for all GS papers. My optional is not completed, so on and so forth. I can understand that. But still, let us not forget that essay is there for 250 marks. And if you could focus and utilize a minimum time slot of 5 to 6 days, okay, from the slot of 80-85 days, then that can possibly hold the potential of making wonders, let us say. So that is the minimum thing which is expected from you as far as essay is concerned. So 5 ते 6 दिवसाचा वेळ जरी तुम्ही त्याला दिला तरी हरकत नाही म्हणजे. Now let me make it further simple. So when I say let us think of using 5 hours in a week in order to prepare for essay. आता हे 5 तास मी कसे वापरेन म्हणजे, let us identify one topic, read something on the given topic, and one fine day, maybe on Saturday, maybe on Sunday, depending upon your choice, you can think of writing one essay. Now initially, you may find it very, very difficult. And therefore, I'm not going to expect you to write one essay in every week. But cumulatively speaking, so if we take note of 80 to 85 days, then on an average, I'm talking about that, you should end up giving at least 5 hours in a week in order to prepare for essay. Okay, so this is what my minimum expectation would be. म्हणजे सुरुवातीला काय तुम्ही प्रत्येक आठवड्यामध्ये एक विषय घ्या आणि त्याच्यावरती अभ्यास करा, तयारी करा आणि लिहा असं मी काय म्हणत नाही. म्हणजे एकंदर 80-85 दिवसामध्ये तुम्ही एक 40 ते 50 तास द्यावेत आणि दॅट स्लॉट कॅन बी युज्ड बाय यू इन ऑर्डर टू प्रिपेअर फॉर एसे, कीपिंग इन माइंड वन्स ओन कन्व्हिनियन्स. म्हणजे तुमच्या सोयीनं तो वापरा. तुम्हाला आठवड्यात एसे लिहायचा आहे, 10 दिवसामध्ये एसे लिहायचा आहे, 15 दिवसामध्ये इनिशियली एसे लिहायचा आहे. सो चॉईस इज युअर्स. ओके, सो यू कॅन थिंक ऑफ रायटिंग वन एसे इन अ वीक, maybe in 10 days if not in a week, maybe in a fortnight, on fortnightly basis. म्हणजे 15 दिवसामध्ये तुम्ही ते डेफिनेटली करू शकता. But to sum up, as far as allocating time for essay is concerned, at least think of giving 5 to 6 days. Now, how to utilize that slot, what is to be done in the slot, okay, that can be discussed subsequently. You don't worry about that. Now, let us look at optional. So there are 2 papers and each paper carries the weightage of 250 marks. 250 मार्कांचे 2 पेपर आहेत. Now again, by the same simple mathematical equation, okay, if you look at the time slot which is to be naturally given to 2 optional papers, okay, then it would be around 23 to 24 days. Let us make it a round figure, 25 days. But let me come up with the range. So in order to prepare for your optional, you can think of using the 25 days to 30 days from the slot of 80 to 85 days. So let us say 85 days, and from 85 days, you can definitely think of at least using 25 days to 30 days in order to prepare for your optional. म्हणजे 80-85 दिवसाच्या कालावधीतील 25 ते 30 दिवसाचा कालावधी तुम्ही डेफिनेटली ऑप्शनलला देऊ शकता. Now, when I say 25 to 30 days, again, choice would be yours, depending upon what optional you have, to what extent you have prepared the syllabus of your optional, whether your optional overlaps with, that is the syllabus of your optional, whether it overlaps with GS, to what extent it overlaps, so on and so forth. म्हणजे तुमचा ऑप्शनल कुठला आहे, तुमची तयारी आतापर्यंत किती झालेली आहे, जीएसचा अभ्यासक्रम आणि तुमच्या ऑप्शनलचा अभ्यासक्रम याच्यामध्ये साम्य किती आहे, ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टी आहेत. So you can factor in all these individual or personal specificities, and then after factoring in those specificities, you can think of giving either 25 days or maybe 30 days, or maybe you can think of giving 30 to 33 days even, or maybe 35 days. It all depends upon you. So minimum range should be 25 days and maximum can be 35, not more than that. Otherwise, it would be very, very difficult for GS paper, because anyway GS is for 1000 marks. We have to prepare the 4 GS papers, and then there are a number of subjects, so on and so forth. So as far as optional is concerned, I will leave it here in terms of allocation of time. That is 25 to 32 days. That's it. Okay. Number 2. Now number 3, then would come the GS, the D component as far as the means examination is concerned. म्हणजे सामान्य अध्ययन हा 1000 गुणांसाठी 4 पेपर तुम्हाला त्याच्यामध्ये डेफिनेटली आहेत, तर तो फार महत्वाचा आहे. सो सिन्स GS happens to be the most important component of the mains examination, you should at least give 45 days out of 80-85 days, you should at least give 45 days in order to prepare for the GS component, paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, paper 4. So let me sum up my third point, that is the allocation of time. I'm putting it very broadly. We खूप generally हे सांगतोय. So 5 to 6 days for essay. Okay, from the slot of 80-85 days, number one. Number two, for your optional, you can think of minimum of 25 days and maximum may say 30 to 33 days. Okay, but in the range of 25 to 30 days. And then as far as the GS is concerned, the remaining slot obviously is to be utilized in order to prepare for the GS of, let us say, 45 days, the slot of 45 days. So 5 ते 6 दिवस निबंध, जवळपास 25 ते 30 दिवस तुमच्या स्वतःच्या पेक्युलॅरिटी प्रमाणे वैकल्पिक विषयाला, आणि 45 दिवस, ओके, मग तुम्ही ती रेंज पण करू शकता. साधारणतः 40-42 दिवस ते 45-46 दिवस तुम्ही सामान्य अध्ययनाला डेफिनेटली राखीव ठेवू शकता. सो दिस इज माय थर्ड सिंपल पॉइंट. नाउ let me turn to now the core of today's presentation. But let me sum up once again, even if it is a sort of repetition. ही पुनर्उजळणी होत असली तरी मी सांगतो, let us not forget that we have only the slot of 80 to 85 days in which we have to prepare 7 papers. And even though we think of giving less amount of time in order to prepare for the essay papers, we have to utilize very smartly, very cleverly the remaining slot of 75 or 80 days in order to prepare one, your optional subject, including 2 papers, and GS on the other hand, including 4 papers. So this was my first small point, which I presented in the form of first, second, and third small points. Okay, that is one thing. Now let me look into the next point. That is the, let me title it simply strategy, method. You can use even the format, but format would be the appropriate word or term. Now, when I say format, what does it mean? That is, how are we supposed to utilize the slot of 85 days for essay, for your optional, for your GS? Now, broadly speaking, there can be 2 formats. म्हणजे कुठला फॉर्मॅट आपण या 85 दिवसाचा उपयोग करण्यासाठी आपण वापरू शकतो. I know there can be many more formats, and I am just putting forward very crudely and in a general sense only 2 broad formats. Okay, now whichever suits you, okay, whichever you may find it convenient, you can choose one, or you can come up with some sort of a hybrid format depending upon your own peculiarity. म्हणजे मी जे सांगतोय तेच तुम्ही स्वीकारायला पाहिजेत असं काही नाहीये. तुम्ही स्वतः विचार त्याचा करू शकता आणि त्यातल्या काही गोष्टी घेऊन तुमच्या सोयीनुसार तुमचा फॉर्मॅट तुम्ही डेफिनेटली इव्हॉल्व करू शकता. म्हणजे नाउ द फर्स्ट फॉर्मॅट कॅन बी प्रिपेरिंग GS as well as optional simultaneously. Okay, along with the essay. So say for example, if I think of giving 5 hours in order to prepare for or study essay, that is read something for essay. So 5 hours in a week won't be a big problem for us. म्हणजे आठवड्यातले 5 तास essay ला कसे काढायचे हा काही फार त्याच्यामध्ये प्रॉब्लेम येण्याचं काही कारण नाही. So you are not likely to face any problem in setting apart a slot of 5 hours in order to prepare for the essay paper. So that is a simple thing. Therefore, I said preparing simultaneously, what? Both GS on one hand and the optional on the other hand. Now, most of you must be thinking about joining some test series in order to ensure of the answer writing practice. Now, what happens whenever we think of a test series, including ours, that is test series of Unique Academy, given the time crunch in the coming almost 3 months, we have to plan 2 tests. So one on GS paper and the other on the optional paper. So if you are supposed to write 2 tests in a week, one on GS and other on optional, then we may not have any option alternative but to prepare GS as well as optional सायमल्टेनियसली. म्हणजे जर आपल्याला टेस्ट सिरीज लिहायची आहे आणि त्याला काही इलाज नाही म्हणजे, ओके, आणि जर ती लिहायची असेल तर आठवड्याभरामध्ये 2 टेस्ट असतील, एक GS ची आणि एक ऑप्शनलची, तर आपल्याला in order to target that test we have to simultaneously prepare simultaneously GS as well as optional. So one format can be, say for example, if you are going to write test on GS on Thursday, then obviously you would start reading, revising, and preparing for the Thursday GS test from Monday itself. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then on Thursday, you would be writing the GS test. Okay. And if the test for optional or optional test is scheduled on Sunday generally, okay, then you would study for the optional paper on Friday, Saturday, and whatever slot of Sunday would be available. So this is how, as far as the first format is concerned, you would have to study both GS as well as optional simultaneously along with the time slot of 5 hours in order to prepare for the GS. So this is one thing. Now there can be another format. Now as far as the first format is concerned, I can definitely share this view that those who are going to write or who would be writing mains for the first time, this would be my kind suggestion to all those students and aspirants who would be writing mains for the first time to approach GS as well as optional simultaneously. म्हणजे जे विद्यार्थी पहिल्यांदा मेन्स लिहितील अशा विद्यार्थ्यांना मी विनंती अशी करेन, त्यांना सजेशन असं देईन की त्यांनी GS आणि ऑप्शनल यांचा समांतर पद्धतीने अभ्यास केला पाहिजे. म्हणजे तुम्ही आठवड्यातले 4 दिवस GS, आठवड्यातले 3 दिवस तुमचं ऑप्शनल, अशा पद्धतीने तुम्ही अभ्यास करू शकता. The second format. What is the second format? You can come up with a schedule wherein you can think of preparing a paper, maybe of GS, maybe of GS, or a subject, let us say, from the given paper. So, for example, if we are talking about GS, then let us take up history and think of finishing of history in a span of 5 to 6 days. Okay, so 5 ते 6 दिवस सलग आपण हिस्ट्री करूयात. I am just hypothetically discussing this, 5 to 6 days. It may require more than that. So what you can do as part of the second format, you can take up one paper, or to be specific, you can take up one subject from GS, maybe history, maybe economy, maybe geography, maybe any other subject from the GS papers. And then think of using a slot of 5 days, a slot of 6 days, okay, continuously from day 1 to day 6, whatever time slot you are supposed to dedicate for that. You can utilize the entire time slot in order to complete the paper or complete the subject, to be specific. And then you can go for another subject. So one from GS and then another from the optional paper. Now completing a paper either from the GS or optional in a span of 7 days is not at all possible. So therefore, in connection with GS, I would say subject or sections from the subject. And as far as your optional is concerned, I should not use the word subject. Rather, I should use the word either 4 or 5 topics, okay, or maybe a section from the given optional paper. So the second format may be a paper-wise format, or to be specific and to be appropriate, a subject-wise format or a section-wise format. So you would take up one paper of GS, and from that paper, you would take up one subject or maybe one specific section of the subject, study it for 4 to 5 days, or maybe 6 days, maybe 7 days, and complete that subject or section of the subject. And then you can turn to another a section, turn to section from the optional paper. So alternately, one from the GS and other from the optional. So this can be the second format. And this format may sound suitable to those students who would be writing mains for the second time. That is, at least they have written the UPSC mains examination at least once in the earlier attempt. Now they might have written the mains examination twice, maybe thrice, so on and so forth. So the second format would be suitable, seem convenient for those students and aspirants who would be writing the mains examination at least for the second time. एकदा तरी पूर्वी मेन्स लिहिले, कारण त्यांना अंदाज आलेला असतो, म्हणजे because since they have one experience of the earlier mains examination, they know the nitty-gritties of the timetable, how many days would be required in order to complete one GS paper or one section of some optional paper. So because of clarity, so let me use a simple word, that is old students, let us say. writing for the second time or maybe third time, they can definitely think of the second format. Okay, that is the another thing. But let me share two things as far as the format is concerned. While framing one's own timetable, okay, you can either follow a test schedule and frame one's own timetable according to the test schedule or test series of an institute. You can do that. That can be one format. There can be another format. You can frame your own timetable, and then according to your own timetable, you can fit in some test series in the same and make it a point to write tests of GS as well as optional, and then the essay paper, keeping in mind your own timetable and your own convenience. म्हणजे सोप्या भाषेमध्ये काय म्हणूयात आपण की तुम्ही एक तर टेस्ट सिरीज नुसार स्वतःचं टाइम टेबल बनवू शकता. दॅट कॅन बी वन फॉर्मॅट, किंवा तुमच्या कन्व्हिनियन्स प्रमाणे तुम्ही स्वतःचं टाइम टेबल बनवा आणि त्याच्यानंतर त्याच्यामध्ये तुम्ही टेस्ट सिरीजला इन्क्लूड करा. म्हणजे सो तुमचा अभ्यास समजा 7 दिवसांनी झाला, 8 दिवसांनी झाला की मग एक पेपर घ्यायचा. सो दॅट कॅन ऑल्सो बी डन, नो डाऊट अबाउट दॅट. what I want to say here is writing test or attending test for sake of attending test series should never happen. So always we must ensure of one thing, that look, I decided to study a particular paper and subject either from the GS or from the optional. I figure out the reference material, I read it, I revised it. Okay, everything is in place. Now this is my preparation, and once I complete all these stages as far as the process of preparation is concerned, then I would be better placed to write a test on the given section or given subject. So this is how, unless and until we prepare thoroughly, we should never think of writing at least a sectional test. So this is how you can follow a test series and evolve your timetable according to the test series. Otherwise, you can think of another format of evolving one's own timetable and then writing test in accordance with one's own timetable. So this is what I have to say as far as the format is concerned. Okay, now let me turn to the next point, that is the actual preparation. How should we prepare? Okay, now as far as the earlier 4 points are concerned, we identified and got to know that we have just 80 to 85 days. Point number 1. Point number 2, in which we have to prepare 7 papers from essay to the 4th GS paper. Point number 3, then we will have to subsequently allocate timetable, keeping in mind the weightage, keeping in mind the syllabus, keeping in mind the references to be read for each and every paper. I mean to say, in order to prepare for each and every paper. So हे सगळं आपण केलेलं आहे. And then the 4th point was the formats. What kind of formats can be possibly adopted or possibly thought of by students, by aspirants? So we thought of 2 general formats. You may come up with your own formats. So one was preparing GS as well as optional simultaneously. म्हणजे दोन्हीचीही समांतर तयारी करायची, so that you can write test on a weekly basis, both on GS on one hand and the optional on the other hand. Otherwise, you can think of the second format, that is paper-wise or subject-wise format, picking up or choosing one subject or maybe one section, one major section from the given subject of a given paper, maybe of GS or optional, completing it in a span of 4 to 5 days, and then shifting to or turning to another paper from either GS or optional. So this is how you can definitely think of second format. And as far as evolving timetable is concerned, you can keep in mind the test schedule of an institute, A, and 2, you can even think of evolving or framing your own timetable. And then you can think of fitting in the test series in one's own timetable. So the choice is yours, because you know your peculiarities better than anybody else. म्हणजे तुम्ही कोण आहात, तुमची तयारी किती झालेली आहे, तुमचे काय लॅक्युनाज आहेत, हे तुम्हाला जास्त चांगलं माहिती असतं. त्यामुळे ती बाब लक्षात ठेवा आणि त्या पद्धतीने तुम्ही टाइम टेबल चॉकआउट करायला काय हरकत नाही. नाउ the fifth important point, the actual preparation, the actual study, म्हणजे जी प्रत्यक्ष आता तयारी आपल्याला करायची आहे. Now again, as part of preparation, initial simple points which are quite obvious. whenever we think of preparing for any examination, including the UPSC examination, we tend to look into the syllabus. So here also, I would request all of you, I'm sure, and I'm damn sure about that, each of you is fully aware, must be fully aware of the entire syllabus. But still I'm saying that process the syllabus, number one. Number two, also look into the previous year question papers. Okay, number two. And number three, the third small point of the fifth main point, evolve syllabus, let me use a word, new syllabus for this year, that is the coming mains. So three small points, let me explain very briefly. म्हणजे मी 3 पॉइंट सांगितले, इनिशियल पॉइंट, की तुम्ही आयोगाने दिलेला अभ्यासक्रम प्रोसेस करा, आयोगाच्या मागच्या प्रश्नपत्रिका बघा, त्याचं अनालिसिस करा, आणि तिसरी गोष्ट मी म्हणालो की या दोन्हीच्या आधारे तुम्ही या वर्षीच्या मेन साठीचा तुमचा सिलेबस डिझाइन करा. नाउ लेट मी एक्सप्लेन व्हेरी ब्रीफली. सो व्हेन आय से प्रोसेस द एक्झिस्टिंग सिलेबस of GS as well as the optional paper. Okay, and even you can look at the topics which were asked by or which are asked by UPSC in earlier years from 2013 to 2019. You can look at it definitely as previous year question papers of essay. But I would again say that that can also be looked at as syllabus for the essay, as if syllabus for the essay. Okay. So when I say process syllabus, म्हणजे अभ्यासक्रमाची प्रक्रिया करा, याचा अर्थ मला काय अपेक्षित आहे? If you look into the syllabus and the previous year question papers, now let me take both of them together, previous year question papers as well as the syllabus. Now you would come to know that there are certain points in syllabus of each paper, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 GS or optional 1 and 2, that there is a possibility that you may come across certain units from the syllabus or maybe chapters from the syllabus, maybe subunits from the syllabus that UPSC till date has not asked any question, has not asked a single question. Now that unit or those units from the existing syllabus including GS as well as optional must form as the most important unit of your preparation. तुम्ही अभ्यासक्रम बघा आणि त्या अभ्यासक्रमातनं तुम्ही असा भाग शोधून काढा की ज्याच्यावरती युपीएससीने आतापर्यंत प्रश्न विचारलेले नाहीत. म्हणजे सो लेट अस आयडेंटिफाय on the basis of processing syllabus as well as previous year question papers, identify the first thing, that is the units on which the UPSC has not asked a single question, number one. Number two, in a way I am explaining all the three small points which are part of the preparation or actual strategy. Number two, you may come across certain units on which UPSC has asked maybe one question or maybe two questions, maybe three questions, maybe four questions from 2013 to 2019. जे 2013 ते 19 पर्यंत, जे गेल्या वर्षीच्या मेन्स एक्झामिनेशन पर्यंत, त्या सिलेबस मधल्या काही टॉपिक्स वरती युपीएससीनं साधारणतः 1, 2, 3, 4 असे प्रश्न विचारलेले असतील. म्हणजे ओके, ज्याला आपण असं फॉर सेक ऑफ कन्व्हिनियन्स लेट अस से द युनिट्स ऑफ सिलेबस on which UPSC has asked maybe one question or maybe two questions, not more than that, not frequently asked. Okay, so that can be the second category of unit of syllabus. म्हणजे अशी तुम्ही प्रकरणं तुमच्या अभ्यासक्रमामधून शोधून काढू शकता की ज्याच्यावरती युपीएससीने एखाद दुसरा प्रश्न विचारला पण फार काही विचारलेलं नाही. म्हणजे सेकंड वन. द थर्ड वन, यू मे कम अक्रॉस सर्टन टॉपिक्स, सर्टन चॅप्टर्स फ्रॉम सिलेबस ऑफ GS as well as optional on which UPSC has asked questions frequently. म्हणजे असे काही टॉपिक तुम्हाला बघायला मिळतील सिलेबस मधले की ज्याच्यावरती युपीएससीनं खूपच ऑलमोस्ट आयदर दरवर्षी किंवा एक वर्षाआड म्हणतो, म्हणजे ऑलमोस्ट एव्हरी इयर और एव्हरी अल्टरनेट इयर UPSC has made it a point to ask question on certain topics. म्हणजे आता फॉर एक्झाम्पल इन GS2 if you check out judiciary as a topic, then you would definitely find at least one question every year on judiciary. If you look at fundamental rights, especially the doctrine of basic structure, then every alternate year you would find one question on doctrine of basic structure, that is the GS2, from GS2. So the third category of units of syllabus can be the units or the topics or the chapters which are asked on which questions are asked by UPSC very frequently. म्हणजे असे युनिट मी थोडंसं समअप करतो की ज्याच्यावरती युपीएससीने आतापर्यंत प्रश्न विचारलेले नाहीये. असे अभ्यासक्रमामधले घटक की ज्याच्यावरती कमी प्रश्न विचारत, एखाद दुसरा प्रश्न विचारलेला आहे, आणि असे काही टॉपिक्स आहेत तुमच्या सिलेबस मधले जीएस किंवा ऑप्शनल मधले की ज्याच्यावरती युपीएससीनं खूप वेळा प्रश्न विचारलेले आहेत, जवळपास दरवर्षी किंवा एक वर्षाआड प्रश्न विचारलेले आहेत. ओके, नाउ द फोर्थ कॅटेगरी you may come across except history, okay, in rest of GS, and even you can look at ethics as an exception, okay. But if you look at geography, environment, society, polity, international relations, economy, science and technology, disaster management, the substantial syllabus, that is most of the papers from the GS, most of the subjects from the GS, I mean to say. uh, Now, what is the peculiarity of these subjects from the GS as well as topics from the GS? The one which I just referred to, म्हणजे geography पासून ते मी डिझास्टर मॅनेजमेंट पर्यंत जीएस मधले आयदर सब्जेक्टची नावं घेतली किंवा सेक्शन्स पण मी तुम्हाला काही टॉपिक पण मी सांगितले. त्याची पेक्युलॅरिटी काय की इन एव्हरी इयर UPSC did make it a point to ask questions pertaining those topics, keeping in mind the current and contemporary events. म्हणजे सो त्या सब्जेक्टच्या करंट वरती प्रश्न विचारले गेलेले आहेत. म्हणजे सो करंट ऑफ जॉग्रफी, करंट ऑफ एन्व्हायरमेंट, करंट ऑफ पॉलिटी, करंट ऑफ IR, करंट ऑफ इकॉनॉमी, current pertaining science and technology, current pertaining disaster management, internal security, so on and so forth. So after processing syllabus, looking into previous year question papers, the fourth category of unit of syllabus you need to identify must be the current and contemporary events pertaining all subjects from GS or sections from GS on one hand, and similar may be case as far as your optional is concerned. Similar may be case, let us say तुमच्या ऑप्शनलच्या बाबतीमध्ये पण करंट कंटेम्पररी गोष्टी डेफिनेटली असू शकतात. म्हणजे आता हिस्ट्री जर असेल तर फार कमी करंट त्याच्यामध्ये असेल, म्हणजे असणार करंट पण कमी असेल, पण जॉग्रफी थोडंसं जास्त असेल, पॉलिटिकल सायन्सला जास्त असेल, पबॅडला जास्त असेल. सो डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द ऑप्शनल वी मे हॅव आयदर द lesser amount of current and contemporary events focused by UPSC in order to ask questions on the topic or sections, whatever it is. Okay, so हे आपल्याला बघता येऊ शकता. म्हणजे so this is how you are supposed to very wisely, very cleverly, intelligently process syllabus, look into previous year question papers. And now let me conclude. After doing this, what are you supposed to ultimately do or achieve? Let us say design a syllabus for the coming year. So when I say designing syllabus for the coming year, I mean to say two broad things. One is those units from the syllabus of GS as well as optional, which is already provided by UPSC. Okay, so that would be called as, that can be called as traditional components or topics or chapters from the syllabus, number one. And number two, the second major thing or general thing in the new syllabus for the coming means happens to be, and you must have taken the hint, current and contemporary developments pertaining every subject, okay, and the papers, let us say broadly. So नवीन सिलेबस तुम्हाला तयार करायचा, याचा अर्थ काय की तुम्ही प्रोसेस केल्यानंतर, म्हणजे सिलेबस आयोगाचा आणि जुन्या प्रश्नपत्रिका बघितल्यानंतर तुम्ही जे एक्सपेक्टेड म्हणून काढणार, म्हणजे तर तो जुन्या सिलेबस मधला बराच भाग असेल तो एक होणार, म्हणजे आणि दुसरा कॉम्पोनंट तुमच्या नवीन सिलेबस मधला येणाऱ्या मेन साठी तुम्ही जो तयार करणार आहात, तर ते करंट आणि कंटेम्पररी म्हणजे चालू घडामोडीतले टॉपिक्स, मग ते भूगोलातले असू द्या, समाजामधले असू द्या, राज्यव्यवस्थेमधले असू द्या, इकॉनॉमिक्स मधले असू द्या, किंवा कुठल्याही विषयाशी संबंधित असू द्या, तुमच्या वैकल्पिक विषयांच्या बाबतीमध्ये ते असू शकतात. म्हणजे सो what we are supposed to achieve by processing syllabus, by looking into or analyzing previous year question papers, what are we supposed to achieve for coming mains? Design of this year's syllabus, that is main syllabus. Okay, हे मी आपल्या सोयीसाठी न्यू सिलेबस असं म्हणतोय. There is nothing new. New means the most expected topics and chapters from the syllabus provided by UPSC on one hand, and the current and contemporary topics on the other hand. Okay, now just one small thing as far as the analysis of previous year question papers is concerned. While analyzing previous year question papers, you would come across different kinds of questions, forms of question, types of question. Now you can see questions which are quite traditional, conventional in nature. I'm sure you must be aware of the types of questions. you can say current and contemporary questions. That is question asked on current and contemporary developments pertaining the given subject. म्हणजे जुन्या प्रकारचे प्रश्न आहेत, पारंपरिक अभ्यासक्रमावरती किंवा पारंपरिक प्रकारचे प्रश्न विचारलेले आहेत, चालू घडामोडीवरती प्रश्न विचारलेले आहेत. We may come across certain questions which are mixed in character. GS2 say, for example. Now, if a question appears on some provision from the chapter on fundamental right, and if it is asked in the context of some recent judgment of the Supreme Court of India, okay, so that can be certainly looked at as a mixed kind of question. So provision from the fundamental right, which happens to be with us from 1950 itself. But on the other hand, whatever is asked by UPSC, it is asked in connection with the judgment of the Supreme Court or maybe some High Court, maybe given in 2018, 2019, maybe 2020, we don't know. म्हणजे सो अशा प्रकारचे प्रश्न पण असू शकतात ज्याला आपण मिश्र प्रश्न म्हणू शकतो. म्हणजे भूगोलातला असेल, इतिहासातला असेल, इतिहासाला पण असू शकतं तसं म्हणजे, किंवा अर्थव्यवस्थेतला असेल. सो some part of question expects you to write something about the syllabus which is quite conventional from the given subject and topic. But the rest part of the question expects you, okay, to do something or explain something or analyze something in the context or in the spatial reference with the current and contemporary development. So असे mixed प्रकारचे प्रश्न पण असू शकतात. Then you can certainly analyze questions in following manner as well. So conceptual questions. It may be the case that some concept as some part of a question, as one part of the question, can be that is, we can be asked, that UPSC can ask us to explain some concept. What is mean by that? What is mean by that? So on and so forth. So conceptual question can be very, very informative, factual, let us say, okay, which expects technical facts. Okay, technical details, maybe data, maybe statistics, maybe explanation, that is the cause or the reasons behind that, to put it very simply, why did that happen, okay, so on and so forth. And then questions which are current and contemporary in nature. Okay, there may be two more varieties of questions. Illustrate. Quite often we come across the guiding word in a question, illustrate. Now, while answering questions in which we have illustrate as the guiding word, we have to always keep in mind the suitable examples. So examples play a very significant role, because whatever is asked in the given question, we are supposed to explain that on the basis of, okay, analyze that on the basis of relevant, pertinent, suitable examples. म्हणजे इलस्ट्रेटचा मराठीमध्ये काय अर्थ होतो? सोदाहरण स्पष्ट करा म्हणजे. सो इलस्ट्रेटिव्ह क्वेश्चन्स डू रिक्वायर, दॅट इज आन्सर्स टू दीज क्वेश्चन्स डू रिक्वायर what relevant examples, pertinent examples, suitable examples. And then the last variety of questions can be the prescriptive questions or suggestive questions. Now you may be asked to explain some problem, then elaborate upon the reasons behind the problem, and then it is every possibility that UPSC may ask you to suggest something in order to deal with the problem. म्हणजे समस्या काय सांगा, तिची कारण काय सांगा, आणि त्या समस्येवरती उपाय सांगा. So what I mean to say is, while analyzing earlier question papers, let us analyze those papers very minutely, very carefully, so that we can get to classify, get to know and subsequently classify, categorize questions on the basis of its nature, let us say. Whether the question is conceptual, explanatory, analytical, current and contemporary, illustrative, prescriptive, suggestive, factual, informative, traditional, conventional, conceptual, so on and so forth. And the nature of every question, I mean to say the comprehension, appropriate understanding of every question on the basis of the key guiding word from each and every question plays a very significant role. म्हणजे प्रत्येक प्रश्न समजून घेणं, आणि तो प्रश्न समजून घेताना त्या प्रश्नामधला जो की गायडिंग वर्ड असतो महत्वाचा, इलस्ट्रेट, एक्सप्लेन, अनालाइज यासारखे कशाचं काय एक्सप्लेनेशन आपल्याला विचारलेलं असलं तरी तर त्याचा अंडरस्टँडिंग फार महत्वाचा आहे. सो आय वुड काइंडली रिक्वेस्ट ऑल ऑफ यू to spend some hours, let us say, in analyzing the previous year question papers, and that would definitely help you in processing the existing syllabus very effectively, and then secondly, evolving the new syllabus to be focused by you, to be prepared by you for the coming examination. म्हणजे जर तुम्ही सिलेबस चांगला प्रोसेस केला, क्वेश्चन पेपर्स व्यवस्थित क्लेवरली अत्यंत हुशारीने तुम्ही जर ते अनालाइज केले, तर मग तुम्हाला डेफिनेटली या वर्षीच्या मेन साठीचा जो सिलेबस आहे तर तो डेफिनेटली करता येऊ शकतो, म्हणजे डिझाईन ज्याला म्हणतो आपण. म्हणजे नाउ दिस इज वन आस्पेक्ट ऑफ द प्रिपरेशन, अँड दिस इज आय नो अ व्हेरी प्रायमरी आस्पेक्ट, व्हेरी इनिशियल आस्पेक्ट, ओके, द फंडामेंटल आस्पेक्ट, बट नेव्हरदलेस वी नीड नॉट neglect, we should not neglect this aspect. So processing syllabus, analyzing previous year question papers, and on the basis of that, designing new syllabus, okay, for coming mains. So this was first aspect of the initial aspect of the actual preparation and actual strategy. Now, let me put forward another key aspect of the actual preparation or study. Now what is that key aspect? The method. Okay, पद्धत कुठली वापरायची आहे. And let me put it very simply, म्हणजे मी ते जितकं सिम्प्लिफाय करता येईल तेवढं मी करतो. म्हणजे सो व्हॉट इज मीन बाय मेथड, अँड मोस्ट ऑफ यू नो फॉर शुअर as to what constitute the word or key term method. Now we have already looked into syllabus, previous year question papers, designed the syllabus, finalize the sources, okay, the conventional, the current material, so on and so forth. So the material is ready, our timetable is ready, everything is in place. Now what is to be done? So we are going to read, number one, obviously, okay, that would be the first primary thing as part of the method. Then we are supposed to process whatever we are going to read. Okay, it may be a kind of revision for you from the given source, but you should process it keeping in mind the requirement of the mains examination. So either you would underline or you would, what to say, highlight. But processing whatever you are going to read, that is the material, maybe NCERT, some stuff from the NCERT, or maybe from the standard reference book, maybe from some class notes, so on and so forth. Number two. Number three, micro notes. I would kindly request all of you to think of preparing micro notes, short notes. At least two important purposes can be served by making micro notes of almost every chapter from all GS papers and subjects, and 2 papers of your optional subject, and even including essay. I would say that micro notes, now what are those important 2 purposes to be served, likely to be served by micro notes and short notes? Number one, it would ensure sharpness and precision as far as your preparation is concerned. Okay, because when we think of preparing micro notes or short notes, we tend to write down only the key points from the given chapter. Okay, so the main points, the crux of the matter. Okay, so that part which is very, very important, critically important from the given page, from the given point, from the given chapter, we end up writing it down in the form of short notes. So if at all we want to ensure sharpness and precision in our preparation, then we must always think of preparing or making micro notes and short notes. That is one. Number two, the second important purpose to be served by the same exercise is revision. And all of you are well aware of the fact that we have to study 7 papers, to read lot of stuff in order to prepare for those 7 papers, which is going to require at least 2 revisions. So revision is going to play a very significant role, because whatever we are going to read, we have to retain that, and then after retaining that, we have to recollect that and write it down, keeping in mind the expectation or demand of the given question. Okay, म्हणजे आपल्याला वाचायचं आहे, ते डोक्यात ठेवायचं आहे, स्मरणामध्ये ठेवायचं आहे, आणि प्रश्नाची डिमांड जशी आहे तसं आपल्याला ते कागदावरती उतरवायचं आहे. म्हणजे सो revision is going to play a very significant role. Now if we have prepared micro notes or short notes, then you can definitely, you would definitely be in a position to revise the stuff in a span of hour, let us say, or maybe few minutes. Now, if you have converted a chapter of 15 pages or 20 pages into 2 or 3 pages in the form of micro notes, then it won't require more than 20-25 minutes. But otherwise, imagine of a situation wherein you did not come up with micro notes and still you have to revise those 15 pages. Then it is likely to consume a lot of your time, maybe 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, maybe 4 hours. So therefore, in order to reduce that time, okay, we have to think of making micro notes. And don't be worried about the exercise of preparing micro notes. त्याची काळजी करू नका. Whenever you start reading something, revising something, you keep on your sideline the blank pages and pen, obviously, and go on writing whatever key points you are going to come across. So simultaneously, you can think of preparing and making micro notes. Okay, so this is just a, now then the revision. So once you finish off your micro notes, you can on daily basis think of revising the micro notes. So revision should be another important aspect of the method to be followed. Answer writing, anyway, I'm going to talk about that, but just few things. Answer writing should be integral part of the preparation for the mains examination. Okay, how important is it? It is. I need not explain, but I would say make it a point to write answer, number one. Now, how frequently should I write answers on daily basis, or maybe on weekly basis, whatever it is? It everything depends upon you. म्हणजे मी रोज लिहावे का 2 दिवसातनं लिहावे का आठवड्यातनं लिहावे, everything depends upon you. But I would request all of you, unless and until you are prepared, let us not think of, or you should not think of writing answers, because it would consume a lot of your time. Then you would end up writing a very superficial kind of answer, and then you are likely to get a very negative kind of feedback, and that would demotivate you. It is likely to be demotivating for you. So let us not think of doing that exercise. So initially, you can come up with a timetable, read and revise, make micro notes, consolidate your preparation, and then go for answer writing. But answer writing is must, number one. Number two, once you write answer, make it a point to get it evaluated very critically. And then you should be in a position to make sense of the feedback. Okay, get it clarified. And once you get it clarified, then and then only you would be in a position to understand as to what is to be improved upon, let us say. म्हणजे मला काय करायचं आहे हे कधी कळेल मला, तर मी क्रिटिकल फीडबॅक जोपर्यंत. सो इट मे बी in the sense of improving articulation and language, maybe presentation, maybe content and subject matter of the given answer, so on and so forth. So get to know and make appropriate sense of the critical feedback and ensure that you are going to improvise based on the critical feedback. So this is how we are supposed to make answer writing, maybe on daily basis, maybe on weekly basis, depending upon your convenience. Okay, so assessment and improvement, critical assessment and improvement should be integral part of your preparation. Ultimately, when we think of writing answer, and I will elaborate upon this as part of the point called as the test series, but let me just bring in at this moment. Now, what is that? The ultimate aim of answer writing practice should be reducing the gap between your preparation on one hand, that is, you have read something, you have revised it, you have come up with micro notes, then you have revised it again, that is consolidated, you have consolidated everything which you have read. म्हणजे तुम्ही वाचलंय, रिवाइज केलंय, मायक्रो नोट्स काढल्यात, पुन्हा त्याला रिवाइज केले, म्हणजे तो विषय तुम्ही पक्का केलेला आहे, तो मजबूत केलेला आहे, स्ट्रॉंग केलेला आहे. मग आता देन द सबसिक्वेंट स्टेप इज, द ऑब्वियस सबसिक्वेंट स्टेप इज रायटिंग आन्सर. नाउ इट मे हॅपन that even though you have prepared well, somehow you are not in a position to put it on the paper, okay, effectively. म्हणजे तुम्ही तयारी चांगली केली आहे, पण तुम्हाला आर्टिक्युलेशन करताना, रायटिंग करताना, प्रेझेंटेशन करताना, रिकलेक्ट करताना, वी डोंट नो. ओके, So I mean to say, you get to see a gap between the kind of preparation you have done and the kind of answers you are actually writing. The ultimate aim and objective of writing answers and going for maybe two or maybe one or more than two test series, what is the ultimate objective and aim? Reducing that gap. So the whatever answers you are going to write, they must reflect the quality preparation. Okay, so always think of reducing that gap. Gap should not be there. And I think there is only one answer. Uh, Revise the stuff, number one. And here, the micronotes, the exercise of micronotes is going to play a very significant part. So micronotes and revision and consolidation of the given topic, number one. And number two, thereby ensuring that every answer of yours is going to be to the point, very precise, sharp, and thereby effective. Okay, so that is what ultimately we are going to achieve or obtain. म्हणजे वाचा, रिवाइज करा, मायक्रोनोट्स काढा, हे झालं प्रिपरेशन. पण जेव्हा तुम्ही ऍक्च्युअल लिहायला लागता तेव्हा जर तुम्हाला कुठल्याही कारणामुळं तुम्ही केलेली तयारी आणि तुम्ही ऍक्च्युअल त्या तयार केलेल्या प्रकरणावरती लिहिलेलं उत्तर याच्यामध्ये जर गॅप आहे, खूपच अंतर आहे असं लक्षात यायला लागलं, तयारी तर मी खूप चांगली केलेली आहे, मला गोष्टी बऱ्याच माहिती आहेत, पॉइंट्स मला सगळे माहिती होते, आठवत पण होते म्हणजे, पण माझा लिखाणाचा जो सराव व्हायला पाहिजे होता तितका तो सराव झालेला नाही. सो या कारणामुळे ते अंतर राहू शकतं. आणि आन्सर रायटिंग प्रॅक्टिस either on the daily basis or maybe on weekly basis as part and parcel of a test series, so on and so forth, is ultimately going to help you in fixing this problem and reducing the gap. Okay, so जसं तुमचं प्रिपरेशन इफेक्टिव्ह असायला पाहिजे तसंच तुमचा आन्सर रायटिंग देखील इफेक्टिव्ह असायला पाहिजे, हा त्याच्यामधला महत्वाचा भाग आहे. Now let me look into another important aspect of the actual preparation. Okay, now what is that important one? The approach. Now when I say approach, now I'm sure that few of you must be newcomers in the sense, maybe writing mains for the first time, and most of you must be the students and aspirants who might have written the mains examination at least once, let us say. Okay, now those students who have already written the mains examination may be better placed in order to make sense of something called as the approach, the next point which I'm going to discuss now. But I'll try to make it simple, keep it as simple as possible so that even a newcomer can make better sense of the term called as, or the aspect called as, the approach. Now what happens, optional, we know it for sure. Now how should I study for geography, for history, for pol science, for public administration? You know it for sure. And even if you have certain problems in approaching your optional, that is what kind of approach is to be adopted in order to study one's own optional, say for example pol science, PubAd, so on and so forth. Every optional is known for certain peculiarities, and you must have already read about that, discussed about that. You must have asked questions and queries about approaching one's own optional in terms of content and in terms of writing answers, reference material, so on and so forth. So you must have taken some guidance from maybe a teacher, maybe an institute, and you must have dealt with all those questions and queries. I'm sure about that. So I need not explain about the kind of approach to be followed by the student in order to prepare for one's own optional. म्हणजे वैकल्पिक विषयांच्या बाबतीमध्ये कसं असतं तुम्हाला माहिती असतं, म्हणजे कुठल्या प्रकारचा अप्रोच स्वीकारायला पाहिजे, तुम्ही त्याची चर्चा करता, प्रश्न विचारता आणि त्याचं उत्तर पण तुम्ही एका अर्थाने शोधता म्हणजे. बट वी नो इट फॉर शुअर that each optional is known for some peculiarity and we need to understand that peculiarity, must be aware of that peculiarity. Okay, आणि ती तुम्ही जाणून घेतली असणार याची मला खात्री आहे, त्यामुळे मी त्याच्याबद्दल आता बोलत नाही. When it comes to GS, when we think of GS, we are not supposed to adopt and accept one single similar approach while studying GS1, 2, 3, 4, not at all. Now GS4 ethics, we know the syllabus, we know the previous year question papers, and the kind of questions which are asked in GS4 paper, in the ethics paper, those questions basically, primarily and fundamentally seeks to cross-check and evaluate the thinking ability of, or rather the critical thinking ability of a candidate, number one, and number two, the ability of the candidate to apply a concept which might have propounded by Plato or Aristotle or J.S. Mill or Gandhi, okay, long back, apply that concept propounded in some earlier century to the present times. So again, thinking ability, critical thinking ability becomes very, very important. So if ethics paper is classically known for application of one's own thinking ability and then putting it on the paper, then GS4 is going to require a different approach. Okay. And again, when I say GS4 requires different approach, I don't want to convey that as if all 16 to 17 questions which form part and parcel of the GS4 require similar approach, not at all. Now, when we are supposed to deal questions on certain concepts, such as what is meant by value, what is meant by ethics, what is meant by honesty, what is meant by transparency, so on and so forth, code of conduct. Now, these kinds of conceptual questions require a different kind of preparation and different kind of approach while even answering questions pertaining those concepts. Number one. There can be another category of question in GS4, that is statements of some famous philosophers can be asked. In order to explain those statements or some ideas propounded by some philosopher. And then on the other hand, you may be asked by the UPSC to establish the relevance of the same idea as far as the present reality is concerned. So establishing a connect between the concept on one hand and the current contemporary situation on the other hand. So these kinds of statement questions, that is questions in which statements of famous philosophers are generally asked, require a different approach. Then we have a very important aspect in ethics paper, GS4 paper, that is the case studies. So case studies do require altogether a different approach. So for GS4 at macro level, we should have rather a different approach. And in turn, when we go deeper in GS4, we would get to know different types of sections of syllabus and questions asked on the same section, and that is the micro level. So we have to go deeper, look into the category of question, form of question, nature of question, and evolve a different approach while dealing with, or in order to deal with those questions. I think this is what I mean when I use the word approach. So GS3, now again in GS3, we need to come up with a different approach in which we have economy, we have science and technology, we have disaster management, internal security, so on and so forth. So every subject which is part of GS3 is going to require a different approach, and then every section in turn, and then ultimately at the micro level, different kinds of questions. And you can possibly club 2-3 questions in one particular category. So that category of question is going to require a different approach. So this is how we should think of approaching every GS paper in a different manner. But we must again go deeper into each and every GS paper, subject wise, section wise, and even the topic wise. And then based on this kind of analysis, this kind of understanding, we must come up with the suitable, the pertinent, the relevant kind of approach. Okay. Now let me illustrate this point in connection with GS2. In GS2, we have generally 20 questions. GS2, we know it for sure, constitution, governance, international relations. Out of 20, generally there are 5 to 6 questions which are asked on international relations. Now let us think of the remaining 14 to 15 questions. Now out of 15 questions, if we look into 2-3 years previous year question paper, that is 16, 17, 18 and 19, especially 16 onwards, you would come across at least 4 to 5 questions in the basket of 14 to 15 questions, which are asked on the conventional topic of Indian Constitution. So those are conventional questions, maybe on joint sitting, maybe on public account committee. So these kinds of conventional, traditional topics, okay, can be focused by UPSC in 4 to 5 questions. Now, how should I approach? Now, since you have just finished off your preliminary examination, you must have, I'm sure, revised Lakshmikant multiple times. Okay. So whatever conventional part of constitution you have read recently, you can revise that, and depending upon those conventional questions, you can come up with a pointed framework of those expected, most expected conventional topics from the polity. Number one. Number two, you may come across another slot of maybe 3 to 4 questions, maybe 4 to 5 questions, in which a mixed kind of question is asked. That is, some traditional or conventional component from Constitution of India. Even I earlier referred to this kind of mixed category of question, and that provision is asked, or something about that provision is asked in connection with judgment of either the Supreme Court or High Court of India. Now, for example, if you think of the pandemic, then it is every possibility that a question might be asked on right to health. Now, in 2017, the central government came up with National Health Policy 2017. Earlier, Supreme Court of India had included right to health in the right to life under Article 21. We know it for sure. Despite that, and even Supreme Court of India had asked central government to seriously think of uh, imparting, okay, recognizing right to life as fundamental right. That was the suggestion even by the Supreme Court of India to the central government. But central government did not do that in the 2017 policy. But certainly, the government is considering, let us say, and so many NGOs, analysts, scholars have suggested to seriously think of right to health as one of the fundamental rights. Now, one would be the right to life, the original conventional provision from the Constitution of India, and there is every possibility that UPSC may ask a question on the implication of making right to health as one of the fundamental rights, as part of right to life under Article 21. So this would be a mixed kind of question, let us say, something from the original constitutional, from the conventional part of the Constitution on one hand, and something very contemporary in respect with judgment of a Supreme Court, maybe in respect with some bill or some law passed by the Parliament, in respect with some political controversy. It can be anything. So what I mean to say, you can apply this kind of approach by clubbing together certain questions, maybe 4 to 5, 5 to 6, depending upon the nature of the question. So if we go deeper and think of and evolve subsequently, this kind of micro strategy, that would definitely help you out. Okay, and in polity similarly, let me conclude saying, you may come across few questions, maybe 4 to 5 questions, which are sheerly asked on current and contemporary developments, which might have taken place in 2018 or 2019, or maybe 2020. The current development, sheerly current development. Okay, there may be questions on policy, some policy, maybe some scheme, maybe some act, say, or proposed bill. So these kinds of questions can be looked at as new questions. सो मी जे तुम्हाला अप्रोचच्या अर्थाने सांगत होतो ते हे होतं की तुम्हाला पेपर वाईज अप्रोच बदलावा लागेल. त्या पेपरमध्ये जे काही सब्जेक्ट आहेत त्या सब्जेक्ट वाईज तुम्हाला अप्रोच बदलावा लागेल. आणि सब्जेक्ट म्हटलं तरी आपल्याला सारखाच अप्रोच स्वीकारता येत नाही. त्या सब्जेक्ट मधल्या सिलेबसवरती जे वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारचे प्रश्न विचारले जातात, तर त्या प्रश्नाच्या स्वरूपावरनं देखील तुम्हाला अप्रोच बदलावा लागेल. मी पॉलिटीचं तुम्हाला आता उदाहरण दिलं होतं. ओके, सो दिस इज हाऊ यू कॅन थिंक ऑफ इव्हॉल्विंग the micro strategy or micro approach, or approach at the macro level, and simultaneously, or on the other hand, at micro level. So general on one hand and the particular on the other hand. General on one hand and very specific depending upon the nature of the question on the other hand. So हे तुम्ही definitely करू शकता. म्हणजे as part of the next point, as part of the actual preparation, the current event. Everybody knows which is given to the current and contemporary development by the UPSC. What I would briefly suggest, look into the previous year question papers. so that you can get to know as to what kind of questions are asked as far as the current event is concerned. Point number one. Point number two, you can finalize at least one fundamental source in order to prepare for the current event. Number two. Number three, you can also think of another source, but in a very selective manner. So the second point is one fundamental essential source for the current event. The third point, you may think of going for some second or the third source for the current event, but very selectively, and that would be for specific topic. Okay, so this is the third thing as far as the current event is concerned. Number four, while preparing any current topic, you must focus on or make sure that all important aspects of the current development are taken note of. Okay, and when I say aspect, social aspect, economic aspect, political aspect, cultural aspect, that is one way of identifying aspects of a given issue. You can also approach the current developments in terms of levels, let us say, local level, the regional level, the state level, the national level, the regional international level, international, and per se the global level. So this is how many dimensions and aspects of current events can be identified. Then there can be another way of making sense of different dimensions and aspects of the current event. What can be that, or what is that? Say for example, we may have a problem in the current event, some problem, the ongoing pandemic, say for example. So understanding the problem like pandemic on one hand, getting into the causal factors, point number two. Point number three, subsequently, whatever is done by your national government to the international collaboration. Okay, so the strategies and whatever it is. Okay, so remedy adopted, let us say, and then you have to critically analyze that. Was it sufficient? Was it adequate? Was it appropriate? So on and so forth. And then possibly you have to also think of the way out. What else can be done? ओके, मी आता हेच मराठीमध्ये सांगतो की करंटची तयारी करताना तुम्ही जुन्या प्रश्नपत्रिका बघा, म्हणजे तुम्हाला करंट कसं कळेल. करंटसाठी प्रायमरी आयडेंटिफाय बघू शकता, पण तो खूप सिलेक्टिव्हली बघा. तयारी करत असताना तुम्हाला वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारच्या आय होप आय एम ऑडिबल. हर्षल सर?
येस सर, येस सर, यू आर ऑडिबल.
सॉरी, तुम्ही राजकीय असेल, आर्थिक असेल, असे वेगवेगळे बघू शकता. दुसऱ्या बाजूला स्थानिक पासून प्रादेशिक ते राष्ट्रीय, आंतरराष्ट्रीय मधलं क्षेत्रीय किंवा विभागीय, आंतरराष्ट्रीय आणि जागतिक असाही त्याचा विचार करू शकता. आणि मी जे वेगवेगळे पॉईंट त्या बाबतीमध्ये सांगितलेले आहेत, समस्या जर असेल तर समस्येचं स्वरूप काय, तिची कारणं काय आहेत, तिचे परिणाम काय झालेले आहेत, त्या ती समस्या सोडवण्यासाठी काय काय राष्ट्रीय पातळीपासून जागतिक पातळीपर्यंत केलं गेलेलं आहे, जे केलेलं आहे त्याच्याबद्दल चिकित्सक आकलन करणं, आणि शेवटी त्याच्यावरती वे आउट काय करता येईल का. म्हणजे नाउ इफ यू चेक आउट द अर्लियर क्वेश्चन पेपर्स, you will come to see that we cannot guarantee as to what aspect of a current event is likely to be focused by or asked by the UPSC. म्हणजे करंटचे प्रश्न तुम्ही बघितले तर आपल्याला याची खात्रीच देता येत नाही की त्यातलं कुठलं विचारलं जाऊ शकतं आणि कुठलं विचारलं जाऊ शकणार नाही. म्हणजे आता आपण करंट पेंडेमिकचं उदाहरण घेतलं, द लॉकडाऊन which was for the first time imposed in the last week of March, okay, March 2020. It was imposed, the national lockdown, I'm talking about the national lockdown, राष्ट्रीय पातळीवरचं जे होतं ते the National Disaster Management Act म्हणजे. सो त्याच्या आधारे ते केलं गेलेलं आहे. म्हणजे सो यू मस्ट स्टार्ट थिंकिंग अबाउट, and I am sure you must have studied that act, no doubt about that. Number one. Number two, was that strategy effective? So we have to first decode the strategy, the kind of strategy which was adopted by central government on one hand and all state governments and UTs on the other hand. So what were the elements of the strategy? मी just एक example तुम्हाला त्यातनं देतोय. Number two. Number three, what kind of challenges were faced by the political establishment on one hand and the administration on the ground on the other hand. म्हणजे असाही तुम्हाला त्याच्यातनं विचार जाऊ शकतो. Governance issues. We confronted so many governance issues during the pandemic. म्हणजे अनेक ज्याला आपण कारभार प्रक्रियेचे विषय म्हणतो तसे विषय आणि तसे कळीचे मुद्दे आपल्याला फेस करावे लागलेले दिसतात. म्हणजे त्याखेरीज आपल्याला the public health sector. Once again, we realized, rather re-realized, that public sector has got to play a very significant role. When I say public sector, public health sector, I'm talking about public health sector. म्हणजे सार्वजनिक आरोग्य व्यवस्था जी आहे, which has been neglected like hell, okay, and that can't be justified. So therefore, we have to seriously think of consolidating, empowering the public health sector. Now, how can we do that? What kind of financial investment are we going to require? म्हणजे आता तुम्ही एक विषय घेतला की तुम्हाला बऱ्याच गोष्टी त्यातनं आयडेंटिफाय डेफिनेटली करता येऊ शकतील. सो दिस इज हाऊ आय वुड से that let us aim at preparing the current topics thoroughly with all its aspects. Then let the UPSC ask anything, focus on any particular aspect, you would be better placed to deal with those kinds of questions. म्हणजे तुम्ही जर थोडीशी सर्वसमावेशक तयारी करंटची केली तर मग तुम्हाला UPSC ना कुठल्याही प्रकारचे प्रश्न विचारले तर काही कारण नाही. Now let me turn to the last point of my presentation, that is the answer writing. Okay, answer writing, as I stated earlier, happens to be the critical element of the mains preparation. Okay, number one. Number two, you can think of following your own format. On daily basis, you can think of writing answers. But again, I would kindly remind you of, and this would be a suggestion, my kind suggestion, that unless and until you prepare something, do not think of writing answer on the same topic or chapter, whatever it is. Okay, so that is my just kind suggestion. So on daily basis, you can think of writing answers. Maybe in a slot of 2 days or 3 days, you can come up with a reserve sort of 2 to 3 hours and write answers of say five questions, say 6 questions, so on and so forth, depending upon your own decision. Then on weekly basis, you can definitely think of writing answers. So that is one general suggestion. But test series, I would ask you to practice answer writing. Okay, practice answer writing in the form of test series. And when I say test series, it must include at least 2 kinds of tests. So one would be the sectional test, in which we break down the syllabus of the GS paper or optional paper into 2 or 3 sectional papers, let us say. Now, it seems very convenient because we can target those 5 to 6 topics and chapters, prepare well, revise whatever we are going to prepare for those topics, and then we can think of writing a sectional test on the same thing. Okay. Similarly, we can follow the same format for the remaining sections of GS or the optional. So one thing, the test series must consist of the sectional test. And the second thing, the comprehensive one. Because after all, we have to become habitual of, we have to inculcate the habit of writing question paper on the whole, the entire syllabus. म्हणजे संपूर्ण अभ्यासक्रमावरती आपल्याला चाचणी द्यायची आहे. म्हणजे सो GS 1, 2, 3, 4 असा एक आपला असला पाहिजे. ऑप्शनल पेपर 1, पेपर 2 असा एक कॉम्प्रिहेन्सिव्ह टेस्टचा सराव आपल्याला त्याच्यामध्ये करायचा आहे. पण त्या कॉम्प्रिहेन्सिव्हच्या आधी तुम्ही सेक्शनल टेस्टचा सराव तुम्ही डेफिनेटली करायला काही हरकत नाही. नंबर 2. नंबर 3, अगेन आय एक्सप्लेन दिस व्हाईल अगो. मी थोड्या वेळापूर्वी तुम्हाला हे सांगितलं की यू कॅन फ्रेम युअर टाइम टेबल इन अकॉर्डन्स विथ अ टेस्ट सिरीज. म्हणजे टेस्ट सिरीज नुसार तुम्ही तुमचं वेळापत्रक करू शकता, किंवा यू कॅन थिंक ऑफ framing your own timetable, formulating your own timetable, and then as and when it suits, you can make it a point to write tests. म्हणजे तुम्ही तुमचं वेळापत्रक करा आणि त्या वेळापत्रकानुसार तुम्ही तुमच्या फ्रिक्वेन्सीने टेस्ट लिहू शकता. सो ते मागे पुढे होऊ शकतं. म्हणजे ओके, द फ्रिक्वेन्सी कॅन बी चेंज्ड अँड रिफॉर्म्ड, अल्टर्ड बाय यू, कीपिंग इन माइंड युअर ओन कन्व्हिनियन्स. म्हणजे स्वतःच्या चॉईस प्रमाणे, सोयीप्रमाणे तुम्ही ते मागे पुढे करू शकता. म्हणजे पण तुम्हाला अल्टिमेटली टेस्ट सेक्शनल ॲज वेल एज कॉम्प्रिहेन्सिव्ह टेस्ट ह्या तुम्हाला द्यायच्याच आहेत. म्हणजे नंबर त्याच्यानंतरची पुढची गोष्ट, यू शुड एम ॲट रायटिंग मोर अँड मोर आन्सर्स ॲज फार ॲज पॉसिबल, लेट अस से. म्हणजे जितके जास्त प्रश्न तुम्हाला किंवा जास्त प्रश्नपत्रिका सोडवू शकाल तेवढं तुम्ही सोडवण्याचं टार्गेट ठेवा. बट अगेन विथ द सेम कॉशन. अँड व्हॉट विल बी दॅट कॉशन? अनलेस अँड अंटिल यू प्रिपेअर. म्हणजे तुमची तयारी, मी अगदी काय परफेक्ट तयारी करा असं मी म्हणणार नाही, थोरो तयारी करेपर्यंत लिहू नका असं मी म्हणणार नाही, बट ऍटलीस्ट द प्रायमरी लेवल ऑफ प्रिपरेशन. ओके, सो जोपर्यंत प्राथमिक तयारी तुमची होत नाही तोपर्यंत तुम्ही लिहा. एक आठवडा लागेल, 2 आठवडे लागतील आणि मग तुम्ही लिखाणाचा सराव डेफिनेटली करू शकता. म्हणजे सो दीज वेर द फ्यू प्रायमरी थिंग्स ॲज फार एज द आन्सर रायटिंग इज कन्सर्न. Then there are three important aspects of answer writing. Okay, this would be my last point. Which are those three components of writing answer? One obvious would be the content. म्हणजे आशय ज्याला म्हणतो ना आपण. म्हणजे आता त्या आशयात काय काय येतं बघा, मी नुसती चेकलिस्ट देतो तुम्हाला. मी लेट मी जस्ट आयडेंटिफाय द इम्पॉर्टंट एलिमेंट्स ऑफ कंटेंट विच happens to be one of the three components of answer writing. म्हणजे answer writing, A is content, B is language and articulation, and C is the presentation. So I have broken down three components of answer writing as A, B and C. म्हणजे मी 3 भागामध्ये सोयीसाठी ते केले. A म्हणजे आशय कंटेंट असेल, B म्हणजे भाषा आणि तुमचं आर्टिक्युलेशन आहे, ओके, तुम्ही लिहिता कसे, आणि तिसरं प्रेझेंटेशन आहे, म्हणजे तुमचं सादरीकरण कसं आहे. आय एम डुईंग दिस फॉर सेक ऑफ कन्व्हिनियन्स, ओके, बट एव्हरी आस्पेक्ट कॉम्पोनंट इज व्हेरी व्हेरी रेलेव्हंट अँड पर्टिनंट. म्हणजे ते करायचं म्हणून पण मी नाही केलेलं त्याच्यामध्ये. सो वन बाय वन. कंटेंट. वेन वी से कंटेंट, व्हॉट ऑल इज इट गोइंग टू इन्क्लूड, म्हणजे कंटेंटमध्ये काय काय येणार आहे. सो कॉन्सेप्ट्स अँड टर्म्स आर गोइंग टू प्ले इम्पॉर्टंट रोल, वी नो इट फॉर शुअर, म्हणजे संकल्पना असतील. देन फॅक्ट्स आर गोइंग टू प्ले सिग्निफिकंट रोल, तथ्य फॅक्ट्स असतील. देन डेटा अँड स्टॅटिस्टिक्स, सांख्यिकी महत्वाची असणार आहे. आस्पेक्ट्स अँड डायमेन्शन्स, म्हणजे ज्याला आपण आयाम किंवा अंग असं म्हणतो. अँड आय डिड एक्सप्लेन क्वाईट एलॅबरेटली द व्हेरियस वेज ऑफ आयडेंटिफाईंग आस्पेक्ट ऑफ अन इश्यू, लेट अस से. ओके, ते मी मगाशी सांगितले तुम्हाला. आस्पेक्ट्स अँड डायमेन्शन्स. एक्सप्लेनेशन, आन्सरिंग व्हाय or knowing why, the causal factors of a problem, of a thing, let us say. So explanation म्हणजे स्पष्टीकरण. स्पष्टीकरणामध्ये आपण का तसं आहे त्याचं उत्तर देतो. म्हणजे अनालिसिस, विश्लेषण. म्हणजे नाउ लेट मी once again repeat all these points: concepts and terms, facts, data, statistics, aspects and dimensions, explanation, causal factors or answering why, analysis. Okay, then next, in content part of your answer, examples, experiments, models and case studies. You should always look for examples, right kind of case studies, experiments and models. And here I'll just take 1 or 2 minutes. What happens generally, you are told by your seniors, you are asked by your seniors to look for good examples. And what do we do generally while referring to examples in our answer? We just mention that so and so happened in so and so state. Okay, so we end up in just describing the example or mentioning or describing few details. Instead of that, if we want to bring in example, experiment or model effectively and creatively, we should do in the following manner. Okay, so just refer to the case study or example or maybe model, but do make it a point to focus on what factors or which factors played a significant role in facilitating the same experiment, facilitating the same model. Now, did initiative on part of the local people become important? Did initiative on part of the administration? Did initiative on part of the NGO? What was that? Or the governmental initiative? What factor or gamut of factors was responsible in facilitating the given experiment? म्हणजे आपण प्रयोगाविषयी सांगतो, प्रारूपाविषयी सांगतो, अमुक अमुक घडलं एवढंच आपण सांगतो एका वेळेमध्ये. पण मला असं वाटतं की ते प्रारूप किंवा एक्झाम्पल किंवा केस स्टडी प्रकरण देत असताना त्या प्रकरणाचा थोडक्यात उल्लेख करा. आणि अमुक अमुक घटकामुळं, लोकांच्या पुढाकारामुळे झालं का, एखाद्या एनजीओच्या पुढाकारानं झालं का, शासनाच्या पुढाकारानं झालं का, लिडरशिपचा रोल त्याच्यामध्ये महत्वाचा आहे का, अवेअरनेस महत्वाचा बनला का, शैक्षणिक पार्श्वभूमी महत्वाची बनली का, व्हॉट बिकेम इम्पॉर्टंट देअर. ओके, म्हणजे काय महत्वाचं बनलं त्याच्यामध्ये. म्हणजे अशा प्रकारे तुम्ही तुमच्या एक्झाम्पल्स अँड केस स्टडीज उत्तरामध्ये इफेक्टिव्हली आणू शकता. म्हणजे सो दिस इज हाऊ वी शुड ब्रिंग इन examples, experiments, models and make our answer illustrative. म्हणजे आपलं उत्तर जितकं सुधारण स्पष्टीकरण देणार असेल, म्हणजे बरेचदा प्रश्न इलस्ट्रेट करा असं सांगतातच. म्हणजे देअर वी डू नॉट हॅव एनी चॉईस. but to answer the question, right answer by including the relevant examples. म्हणजे जिथं तुम्हाला उदाहरण स्पष्टीकरण द्या असं विचारलंय तिथं उदाहरण देण्याशिवाय आपल्याला पर्याय नाहीये. But I would suggest, even in other questions, that is other answers, you must make it a point to use 2-3 pertinent examples, and that habit would definitely end up giving you 1 or 2 extra marks in comparison with other candidates. Now, you must also be aware, as far as the content of the answer is concerned, criticism, the limiting side or the flip side of a given issue. हे तयारीसाठी बोलतोय आपण, म्हणजे की त्या गिव्हन इश्यू, त्या गिव्हन सिलेबस मधल्या कॉम्पोनंट मधलं you should know the limitation, you should know the criticism, you should also know the flip side. One and the same, limitation, flip side, okay, or the critical aspect. Then the next would be the significance, the importance, the contribution, the relevance. This aspect also, one must be aware of this aspect as well. So on one hand, the limiting aspect, and on the other hand, the contributory aspect. I'm just simplifying. म्हणजे त्याची मर्यादा पण माहिती पाहिजे आपल्याला, आणि दुसऱ्या बाजूला त्याचं महत्व काय आहे, त्याची यथार्थता काय, त्याची समर्पकता काय आहे, हे पण आपल्याला माहिती असलं पाहिजे. कारण आपल्याला माहितीच नाही ना की युपीएससी काय प्रकारचा प्रश्न विचारेल, कुठल्या मुद्द्याच्या मर्यादेबद्दल प्रश्न विचारला जाईल, का कुठल्या मुद्द्याच्या समर्पकतेबद्दल किंवा महत्वाबद्दल प्रश्न विचारला जाईल. नोबडी नोज दॅट. ओके. आणि मग महत्वाचं कंटेंट मधलं, ज्याचा मी मगाशी पण उल्लेख केला, द लास्ट थिंग ऍज फार एज द कंटेंट इज कन्सर्न, ओके, is suggestion or prescription. Okay, so if you ensure of, let me repeat everything which is part of the content: concept and terms, facts, data, statistics, aspect, dimension, explanation, answering why, analysis, examples, models, criticism, limitation, contribution, relevance, and last but not the least, suggestion, prescription, and way out. Now, if we could assure of all these points, or let us say aspects broadly speaking, then you should not worry about the kind of questions which are likely to be asked by the UPSC in the coming mains. Now, the second aspect, the B aspect of the writing answer or answer writing, happens to be articulation and language. And I'm going to be very, very brief. When I say language, at least two broad things I'm saying. All linguistic aspects as the first sub-aspect of the articulation or language aspect is concerned. Now, using appropriate words, making grammatically correct sentences, okay, so on and so forth. So every linguistic aspect, okay, or every aspect which forms part and parcel of the articulation and language. म्हणजे त्याच्यात योग्य शब्दप्रयोगाचा वापर, व्याकरण दृष्ट्या योग्य वाक्यरचना आपल्याला करता यायला पाहिजे, वगैरे वगैरे. त्याच्यात मी जास्त डिटेलमध्ये जात नाही. बट यू शुड हॅव और यू शुड इन्श्युअर appropriate articulation and language, including the terminology. Okay, so from terms, appropriate words to the terminology of the given subject. It may be GS or it may be your optional or it may be your essay paper. So हा एक भाग आहे. The second important aspect of articulation and language, okay, second important aspect, I am reducing it to only two. So one, I just elaborated, I just referred to that. Now, what is the second one? Now, your articulation and language, that is your writing, the kind of sentences you are going to write down ultimately, every sentence should make some point. In other words, to put it very simply, your articulation and language should be very, very precise and very, very sharp. म्हणजे अनेक वेळेला म्हणतो ना की अरे म्हणायचं काय आहे, 4 वाक्य संपलेले आहेत पण मला अर्थच लागत नाही. म्हणजे अशी आपली लिखाणाची शैली असता कामा नये. आपली लँग्वेज आणि आपलं आर्टिक्युलेशन, आता इथे लँग्वेज पेक्षा आर्टिक्युलेशन हा शब्द प्रयोग वापरेन. म्हणजे सो आवर आर्टिक्युलेशन शुड बी व्हेरी प्रिसाइज, व्हेरी शार्प, व्हेरी पॉइंटेड. म्हणजे अत्यंत शार्पली आपल्याला लिहिता यायला पाहिजे. नेमकेपणा, मराठीमध्ये काय म्हणतो आपण त्याला, नेमकेपणा असं म्हणतो. म्हणजे शार्पनेस जो आहे तो. ओके, सो कम अप विथ पॉइंटेड आर्टिक्युलेशन so that once the examiner or assessee read your sentence, he would be in a position to make immediate and precise sense of whatever you have written. म्हणजे त्याचं डोकं खाजवायला आपल्याला लावायचं नाहीये त्याला. त्यामुळं as far as your articulation is concerned, your articulation has to be precise and sharp. म्हणजे तो नेमकेपणा आपल्या याच्यामध्ये असला पाहिजे. So this is what I can minimum say about as far as the articulation and language aspect of your answer is concerned. And I would kindly request, so whenever you get your answer assessed and the critical feedback, please do pay attention to the articulation and language part of the assessment. Now, I know it for sure that articulation and language cannot be improved in a span of 2 to 2.5 months. I'm sure about that. But nonetheless, if we could make a point to at least pay attention to that, and while reading whatever we are going to read, while revising it, we can definitely keep in mind that language and articulation aspect open, and accordingly take care of the same aspect. So that would definitely to some extent help us in ensuring the appropriate kind of articulation and language. Okay, so this is it. But sharpness, and let us not forget the sharpness and precision as far as your articulation is concerned. म्हणजे नेमकेपणा, लिखाणातला नेमकेपणा तो तुम्ही द्यायला पाहिजे. And then comes the C, that is the last component of the answer writing. It is presentation. सादरीकरण ज्याला म्हणतो आपण. म्हणजे when I say presentation, there are number of techniques through which we can make our answer very visible, legible, readable, and effective. Okay, so we can underline, we can write in capital letters. Maybe you can write one word, one important word in capital letters. That can also be done. Okay. Then you can use various kinds of charts in a relevant manner. You can use tabular formats whenever it is essential. Okay, and let us not do it mechanically. Since somebody has asked, some topper asked us, advised us to do the same thing, let us not think of doing the same thing for sake of doing. Let us not do that in a mechanical manner. कोणीतरी सांगितलंय यांत्रिकपणे करायचं आहे, काहीतरी वेगळं करायचं आहे म्हणून करू नका. म्हणजे तुमच्या उत्तरामध्ये ते जर जेल होत असेल, ते कॉन्ग्रुएंट होत असेल, तर आणि तरच त्या प्रकारचे टॅब्युलर फॉर्मॅट, पाय चार्ट, फ्लो चार्ट या सगळ्या गोष्टी त्याच्यामध्ये डेफिनेटली तुम्ही वापरू शकता. म्हणजे तुम्ही फिगरचा वापर करू शकता. यू कॅन यूज फिगर, यू कॅन यूज मॅप्स, सो अँड सो फोर्थ. सो पॉसिबली एव्हरी टेक्निक which would be relevant in order to make your answer visible, legible, readable, and effective. आणि त्याचे वेगवेगळे टेक्निक असू शकतात. मी आता तुम्हाला जास्त काही सांगायची गरज नाही. बट प्रेझेंटेशन नीड्स टू बी पेड ड्यू अटेन्शन टू. म्हणजे आपण सादरीकरणाकडे व्यवस्थित लक्ष द्यायला पाहिजे. म्हणजे तुमचा पेपर असा क्लीन, युअर आन्सर शीट should seem or look like very clean, neat, systematically arranged. When you have followed the point format, you have jotted down points one by one in a systematic manner. And when you decide to use the para format, okay, again you have followed a certain kind of discipline. Okay, so this is how your paper must be a disciplined kind of, a systematic kind of exercise of writing something on the paper. Okay, तुमचा पेपर बघितल्या काहीतरी खाडाखोड झालेली आहे, काहीच शिस्त नाहीये, पॅराग्राफ नीट सोडलेलं नाहीये, समास नीट सोडलेलं नाही, असं काही होता त्याच्यामध्ये कामा नये. म्हणजे अत्यंत स्वच्छ सुवाच्य पद्धतीने तो लिहिलेला असला पाहिजे. अँड यू शुड नॉट बी वरीड अबाउट द हँड रायटिंग. हस्ताक्षराच्या बद्दल अनेक लोकांना हे असतात. लेजिबल आणि रिडेबल असलं पाहिजे. दॅट्स इट. म्हणजे okay, legible and readable, that's it. That's the minimum expectation as far as your handwriting is concerned. Okay, and if anything novel new comes to your mind, you end up evolving that, definitely you are advised to use that, but do it in a relevant manner. Let us not do it in a mechanical manner. म्हणजे यांत्रिकपणे कुठलीच गोष्ट आपल्याला त्याच्यामध्ये करायची नाही. म्हणजे नाउ लेट मी सम अप द प्रेझेंटेशन. मी आता थोडं समअप कडे जातो. म्हणजे एक तर whatever is given in the sense of 80 to 85 days, let us be aware of that. Number one. Number two, we have to prepare 7 papers. And let me remind you once again, let us not neglect essay paper, which enjoy similar weightage like the other 6 papers, 250 marks. We know it for sure. And therefore, while framing your timetable, while allocating time for each and every paper, do consider the weightage of essay paper. That is what I would suggest. One, revision slots. That is going to be that aspect is going to be very important. म्हणजे उजळणीकडे दुर्लक्ष करू नका. And last but not the least, the answer writing practice, keeping in mind the content part, the articulation language part, and the presentation part. So these are the important aspects of the means examination. This is it from my side. Thank you, all of you, for attending this session. Thank you.